was one of those teens who became known, of course, as the Central Park Five, a group that was ultimately exonerated. 2 days ago, he mimicked that Trump newspaper ad in an open letter calling out the former president's actions toward him and his peers so many years ago. To be clear, to this day, despite a full exoneration, the former president has never apologized to the Central Park Five. Joining us now is Yusef Salaam. In addition to being a member of the Exonerated Five, of course, he's also currently running for one of the dozens of seats on the New York City Council, representing the historic neighborhood, of course, of Harlem. He's also the author of Better, Not Bitter, Living on Purpose in the Pursuit of Racial Justice. Yusef, honored to have you on the show. Thank you for being with us. You must have a fascinating, we know you have a fascinating perspective on this. Your initial reaction to the former president's arrest was karma, just a one-word reaction. Can you elaborate on that and how you feel all these years later, after he essentially called for you and the other four now exonerated folks to get the death penalty? He himself is now defendant Trump. What's on your mind?
Absolutely, and thank you for having me. You know, when I think about this journey, of course, what comes straight to my mind when I think why I put the word karma out there was because I thought about Dr. King and what he would do in this moment, how noble he is and how noble he was. You know, the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. And it's important for us to understand that as we live this thing called life, we have to be very, very clear that even though we want America to be united, we have been divided and unequal. And it's a tragedy that we still are experiencing an America that is separate in the way that it is.
This reporting from the New York Times. Mr. Trump stoked the racist and sensationalized reaction to the case by taking out full-page advertisements in 4 city newspapers, including the New York Times, calling for the death penalty to be reinstated. This was a huge moment and a huge case, and the city was riveted and torn apart by this case. To me, the more telling part of it is that after the exoneration, well publicized, everyone knows the Central Park Five ultimately cleared in this case, he never apologized. Did you ever expect him to, and how do you interpret his refusal to do so?
You know, I think it's unfortunate because when you get it wrong, it's fine. It's literally, that's a part of being a human being. But when you deny the very humanity of every single person, and you look at the facts. The fact of our case is that deoxyribonucleic acid, that thing called DNA, is what freed us. It is what made sure that people knew that we had not done this, that we had no connection with the case. As a matter of fact, they had the DNA evidence way back in 1989, which is one of the reasons why the headlines began to blurt that out. The tragedy in this particular story is that folks like Donald Trump get the opportunity to put their money where their mouth is, to affect the outcome of cases like the Central Park jogger case. And of course, 2 weeks after we were accused, he placed that ad in New York City's major newspapers, doing what? Calling for the reinstatement of the death penalty, specifically for our case. It was the most unfortunate, tragic reality that we experienced as Black and brown people, because really that was a whisper into the darker enclaves of society that they should do to us what they had done to Emmett Till. But I get the opportunity after all of those years to take all of my lived experiences to show up now as I run for city council. You know, I urge people to go to my website, harlemforyusef.com, because it lays out the whole platform. But more than that, it shows us that we are literally starting a movement. This is not a moment. This is a movement where we have to reactivate our lives, resuscitating our very selves and awaken the sleeping giants.
In the years since your case made the headlines, obviously the state of policing in America, Black Lives Matter and Blue Lives Matter and defund the police and George Floyd and so many others. Do you think things have gotten better or worse?
I think they've actually gotten worse. I think when we look at the present outlook, whether it's social media or the news that we consume, the challenge is that we hope that one day we will really experience the criminal justice system, a system that looks at the color of our skin and says, you know what? They are supposed to be seen as innocent until proven guilty, and we're going to afford them that because that is what the law says. But rather, we live under the oppressive arm where, because of the color of our skin, we are always judged by that and not the content of our character. We are seen as guilty in the Black and brown community, having to prove ourselves innocent. I think when I look at Donald Trump and what he is up against, it's noble for us to be able to always seek equality, to always want equity. We've never been a people who wanted revenge. And that's a part of our soul, our spirit. And I think when I think about where we are in America, we are in the same time of oppression that we just were in. We have not moved out at all. We've made some gains that look like real gains, but the truth of the matter is that we are literally still in a separate America, divided and unequal.
And to that point, one last question. You were a young Black male wrongly accused in New York City years ago. Donald Trump is an upper 70s white man and, of course, the former president of the United States. How will his experience in the criminal justice system be different than yours?
He will be afforded all of the privilege that his skin gives him. Because, as we know, they coined a term called the complexion for acceptance. And they also coined a term called the complexion for rejection. My hope is that he gets all of the justice that is due him, that the justice system truly works. Like I said before, I've been saying that this is the criminal system of injustice, but perhaps today, perhaps in my lifetime, I'll be able to call it the criminal justice system again.
Better, not bitter. I can't think of a better book title or a mindset for life, and you embody that. I used to live in Harlem. It's an extraordinary neighborhood with just an unimaginable history. And I wish you well in your campaign, and thank you for being with us today. Really, really enjoyed talking with you. Thank you, sir.
My pleasure, and thank you as well.
Absolutely.